Welcome to Bar Talk with Dan Mahoney and
say-
Jeff Nardone.
I like it. Go ahead. Welcome to Bar Talk with Dan Mahoney and Jeff Nardone. I am guest Jordan Shabbat along with the other guest, Karl Mahoney. Thank you guys for having us here today.
Well, thanks for being here.
I believe today's subject is going to be bar fun, I guess. You know, drinking games, chalkboard, that you put outside of BBC, Dan.
Maybe an artiste.
With different jokes.
Stupid T-shirts, stuff like that.
I like his T-shirts. Bar,
I didn't say his T-shirts.
Now you were looking at him. Bar jokes, things like that. Drinking games, essentially, is the overall theme. Anything to get you to drink faster, I guess, is really the necessity.
Or bar games,
Yeah.
drinking games.
Yeah. We're splitting hairs here.
It's not
now.
faster, it's longer, Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Responsibility is key.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
That's what Jeff tells me.
Yeah. So, let's start with Jeff, because Jeff, I think you're the oldest one in the group.
Yeah.
When you were a kid in college, when you were in college, you went to college, right?
I did. Yes.
Really? I mean, when you went to college, did you finish? No. What was the drinking game of that time?
Beer die.
What?
Beer die.
Beer die, like something you put in your beer, or
Yeah, so do you guys know beer
I know
die?
beer die.
So beer die is played
Where did
2
you go
on
to school?
2. I went to school in Maine.
what kind of noise was that?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that excitement? I don't know. I know you go to Papoose Pond, but Southern Maine. I went to University of New England, and we played beer die. So beer die basically is played on a table of hard surface. Could be any table. You have 2 people on each end. Think about beer pong. Same setup. There is a height requirement. You take cups. You put them at each corner of the table.
There's a height requirement?
Yeah, you wouldn't make the cut.
Well, no, it depends on what model New Balance he has on, so, like, it could be okay. Like,
638 right
He's
now.
got the 60 other podcasts.
you always have New Balance on. It references nothing.
He has 623s. So, listen, you put your cup in the corner, finger length away from the end and the side, and you take a die and you throw it in the air a certain height. That's the height requirement. And it has to land on the table or hit the glass or go in the glass. And your job on the other end of the table, the other 2 people, is to catch the dice with one hand. You can't bounce it off your chest. You can't use any other thing. You got to catch it one-handed, or it goes in. If it goes in your glass on the toss, you have to finish your entire glass of beer.
Including the dice? You have to drink the dice?
Well, this is why we turned that into a glass of water on the table, and then you would finish a beer on the floor, because it was just nasty. Right. So the dice got spit out too many times.
Border Health beer pong.
Gross, yeah. It only took a few semesters for us to figure out that you should do that.
You guys are quick learners over in college, huh?
But we certainly didn't invent the game. It was wildly popular in the early '90s. Beer die. For those of you listening on podcast, I'm sure there's plenty of people shaking their head, going, "Honey, get the beer die." Yeah. So it's a thing.
And have you ever seen anybody play it since?
As a matter of fact, we've played it here at the brewery on a ping pong table.
No.
So it's ping pong die?
No, I didn't say that.
I'm not saying nothing.
I got a game. You want to play a game right now, real quick?
Go.
This is a dumb Fall River drinking game. It's called. If you guys want to play, you have to agree to play.
Are you playing?
I'll play. Absolutely.
I have one question.
Yep.
Is it going to cost me money?
Nope.
All right. You said Fall River.
You just have to.
so-
You just have to pay attention. All right. So I got confirmation. Carl, do you want to play? That's a yes. Dan.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Yeah. All right. It's the dumbest game ever. It's called Buffalo. For the rest of your life,
Played it. Yeah.
if you are caught drinking by me with your right hand, and I point to you and say Buffalo, you have to finish that beer.
Done.
That's it. That's the game. Game on, bitches. Okay. All right. Anyway, so we're now in the middle of.
All right. So when I was in school, it used to be quarters. Quarters. You guys play quarters?
When you say quadas, you mean quarters, like 25-cent pieces.
Right. Yeah. It's a 25-cent piece. I told you it was old people.
Now
It's a 25-cent piece, all right?
Pull out my left hand.
It's called 2 bits. Now, you guys play that still?
Of course.
I have. Not successfully.
Game of skill.
It's skill. Have you ever played, Jordan?
Quarters, yeah. Yeah, I've played. Not successfully. I've gotten my ass kicked.
You don't get it. You bounce it, it goes in the cup. And...
Yeah, I'm not good at that, and everyone else I seem to play with is.
Same.
Yeah, you gotta bounce it flat. That's the key. Everyone thinks that you gotta bounce it on the edge, and that's gonna make it go. And I learned.
Yeah, it depends on the table.
All right.
Did you ever swallow a quarter?
No.
Swallow a quarter?
Swallow a quarter?
No. What does that do?
No, me neither then. All right, Dan. You're probably the youngest groupie here.
I mean, I'm definitely the best looking one. So,
What is the game of choice?
beer pong and flip cup were usually the two go-to.
Flip it
They're
down.
easy. You know, they're combative. It's a game of skill.
They're combative.
Absolutely. You haven't lived until you've seen a beer pong fight. And if you haven't yet, you haven't lived.
That's what they're doing up in Buffalo now before games. The tailgaters, they're like giving each other power bombs in the beer pong
Yeah.
tables. That's combative, man.
Bill's Mafia.
Bill's Mafia.
Terrible people. Passionate fan base.
Now, these are all drinking games, right? Would you say cornhole is a drinking game? Or is it a game you play while you drink?
I think if you play cornhole without a beer or some kind of drink in your hand, you're like... sort of like doing a podcast without beer or
Oh,
drinking.
finish your coffee.
So says the guy with tea. No, I think to your point, cornhole, or I can't even say it. It just sounds weird. Beanbag game.
We play beanbag.
Bago.
I call it
Bago.
beanbag.
Bago.
Bago. You know, a beano, bago.
Our
Bingo.
person at our tailgate at the Patriots, you have to have a beer in your hand.
Yeah.
So it's part of the game.
I would agree with that. I think you have to.
I think you should.
Yeah.
One
You know, if you
balances
like America, you should have a beer in your hands.
There you go.
All right, so let's go old school. If you're playing beanbag with a beer in your hand, right?
Karl playing beanbag.
Old school.
Let's go old school.
With
Do you know that I am...
with Adidas shell
That
toes.
didn't work out.
I am the beanbag. I'm the
backwards.
Papoose Pond Beanbag Championship. Me and my partner from some kid I never friggin' met before. I don't even know who he was.
I don't want to think about you playing with any beanbag. Go ahead. Sorry. The way you say it. Just say, can you say bago, please?
No, I don't say bago. So, old school beanbag was horseshoes.
That is correct.
Do you play horseshoes? Is that a drinking game?
course.
Is it a drinking game? Do you play with the beer in your hand?
I would never play horseshoes with a beer in my hand because I have 2 horseshoes.
Well, you got to protect yourself, too.
But you'll play beanbag and you don't have 2 bags in your other hand?
This is I always have 2 bags in my hand. That's just my own. That's how I roll.
Jeffy two bags.
So
Jeffy 2 bags. I like
Dan knows me from the street, so that's how we
Jeffy
roll.
2 bags.
So, but horseshoes was taught to me by my grandfather and my father. That was the game that was played at the family functions. You grabbed horseshoes and you threw them at the other, post or whatever. But there was always beers there. You threw the shoes and then you drank beer while you waited. Beanbags is more about a college thing where you don't ever want to not have a beer in your hand.
Right.
So you handicap yourself with a beer in your hand. So
I don't know.
that's just my personal take on it. I don't know if it's right or wrong.
I've played a lot of horseshoes. I don't want to have a hand that I can't, you need to, be able to defend yourself, too. You know what I mean? You got horseshoes flying at you. I don't want a beer in my hand. I don't know. I don't feel like you have to hold a beer when playing horseshoes.
No.
I think they play
I agree.
cornhole.
You don't-
When
you don't-
Fall River,
Yeah,
where they
jeez.
threw horseshoes at each other. And
Apparently they're shooting horseshoes.
That's not how you play? I thought you had to ring it around the other person's neck.
Jordan, if you can't get out of the way of a horseshoe, I mean, seriously.
Well, I've been drinking all day. My reaction time's
hey,
But he'll take a couple of bags in the face.
walked right into that one. God damn.
Oh, boy.
So no, you don't have a beer in your hand because you're right. You have 2 shoes in one hand, 1 shoe in the other, and then once you throw a shoe and the other person goes, you always clang it at the last minute. Clang, 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 clang.
Of course,
So the other
you
person
knocked the
fucks
Do that
turn
again?
off.
Clang,
Knocking
clang,
the
clang,
turn off. Yeah. The other shoe gives you balance. Is There's a weight thing there.
One game I never got into, I don't know if you call it a drinking game or a backyard game while you're drinking, is Can Jam.
Oh, I love Can Jam.
Yeah. Love it.
Either throw me a friggin' frisbee, but I don't want to have to hit it to hit something else, to get it in something. It's too much work.
Sounds like you're not good at Can Jam.
I got to be up to my knees.
First of all, the gray in your beard is coming out over the radio.
It's not a radio, it's an iPod podcast.
Well, it's the same thing. This is a giant microphone. Can Jam
You think that's giant?
9.5. That's a great story.
Anyway.
All right.
You already got me in trouble.
Can Jam is the new horseshoes.
Yeah, I just don't get it. To me, it's a stupid game.
Again, I will quote Dan. You don't know how to throw a frisbee, so you're not good at Can Jam. That's where it's at. Can Jam's a great game. That's a fun game.
I'll tell you what a good drinking game is. Jots.
That's illegal.
Yeah.
You can't play it.
We can't talk about that.
Can't even talk about it. Yeah, not in Fall River.
You can play Can Jam.
Well, they didn't play the game in Fall River. They threw it at each other.
Yeah, just like
That's
horseshoes.
why they're illegal.
It's like getting the bags in the face, man. You don't want to get the jot in the face.
You can play Can Jam with a beer, but it's hard.
Yeah,
That's-
it is.
You're supposed to, though, because you're only supposed to use one hand in Can Jam.
Yeah, but then you spill your beer.
I mean, not
It's
if
messy.
not if you're good at Can Jam, Jeff.
Fair point, Dan.
So, first time I ever played it was here, and I spilled porter on my shoes, and I still have that porter stain on my shoes.
Do you
It's a
consider
happy little
darts
memory.
a drinking game?
trophy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's one of the oldest string games. If you go...
Or are you just
overseas.
playing while you're drinking? So it's not really a drinking
Well, it's
game.
a
It's
pub
not
game.
like, hey, if I don't hit this number, you get a drink.
It's a pub game, though. You
A pub game?
Yeah. If you go into much older places than this, that's where they play at pubs. So it's an old drinking game, just like Jeff's beer dye.
When he said beer dye, I was like, "What? You going around like putting like dye in people's beers?" Like I didn't understand it was dice.
I was going to make that joke, but then you.
I was going to wait till the
ruined
commercial break to ask him what
So
that
for
actually
this
meant.
podcast, there will be a beer dye tournament set up at some point at one of these places, and please show up.
All
okay?
three of you people interested in the game.
I promise you'll fall in love with the game.
It does
Or
sound
you'll
pretty
fall.
out of control.
It's one of
Yeah.
the- you might fall.
We mentioned beer pong.
Yep.
That came out after I was like 50. A game I never really got into. I don't understand why I have to wait to drink.
You know what? I get the idea. Karl is just not good at drinking games.
Yeah.
You know what, Jeff? I got a question for you.
Yes.
Buffalo.
Damn it.
Beer pong's a very complicated game because everyone plays different too. If you don't know your house rules, you can have you can be drinking your whole time. So it's you just don't play in the right house, Kyle.
Yeah, Karl, it sounds like Karl's really just
I'm
bad
not
at it.
invited to a lot of houses.
I mean, I can see.
Not that any of your listeners are surprised by this, but
Yeah. They've heard you talk long
You're a
enough.
bit
Now
dull.
they know that.
I'm dull.
Yeah.
Have you seen my shirts?
yes, I think you're compensating.
All right, well, that's a good segue. Dan, you seem to wear some T-shirts that are stupid. Nobody talks about that. What is the T-shirt that you're wearing right now?
So it's Wu-Tang,
That's not a stupid.
which is for the
that's
children, and it's
yeah.
not stupid, Carl.
And what was the other one that you were wearing earlier?
Schoolhouse Rock, the foundation of America's education system. What else you got, Carl? What else you got?
I'm thinking. What about that one with the kitten that you were wearing?
Pause. It plays off of the place we live in is obsessed with sharks and cats. Both predators in the natural environment. I can go all day, Carl.
You know what's great though, and I'll segue from that to another thing. Is it's a conversation piece.
Absolutely.
So you go into BBC, and you sit at Dan's bar, and there's a giant chalkboard behind the bar that usually has like the new beers that just got tapped, but sometimes always has some sort of ridiculous cartoon or quote.
It's like Guinness with one S.
Yeah, something like that. Spelling error.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, off the wall. And then you got Dan's T-shirts, which are different every time. and they're always something random like that. And then the chalkboard, the sidewalk chalkboard, which I think the entire BBC staff, including Ryan Reedy, who can't spell, that was my favorite one of all time.
Oh, I stayed on there for like 3 days.
Oh, good. Don't ever. That should be just permanent. I'll get you a new chalkboard. Just keep that one. But how do you guys come up with these? Actually, even better. What is your favorite one you've probably seen out there so far?
I mean, picking my favorite one's like picking my favorite child's, which...
You have kids?
Well, no, but you're also not supposed to tell anyone who your favorite kid is until...
Oh, I tell everybody who my favorite kid is. I'll tell you right now.
I mean, I don't know what my favorite one would be, because... I mean, they're there to entertain me more than they are for anyone else. So.
So what's on there right now?
Nothing, because it's raining right now.
Oh, yeah, that's
true. So the weather, we get like a good 6 months out of the year when we can throw some sidewalk art out there, and then I have to just stock up my phone with whatever I want to do.
How about top 5?
I mean, the Bart Simpson one is great. I went on a big dinosaur pun streak for a minute.
Yeah, what was there was a dinosaur pun when that was awesome. I just can't really remember. It was like something about Tyrannosaurus' like arms being small or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh, whenever you feel sad, think of a Tyrannosaurus trying to make his bed. It's just stupid little things like that. And it's like, as dumb as they sound, I've had people from Germany stop, take a picture of it, and send it to their family in Germany.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, though, if it brings someone in, it brings someone in. Like,
it's got me and Tiso. Matt Tiso is one of is Plymouth's longtime bartenders. He's kind of a journeyman, but he's been at BBC for a while now. And he has some pretty good chalkboards, but he has this like hate for people who put pineapple on pizza. And
love pineapple on pizza.
I love pineapple on pizza. Obviously, Karl does. He wears
My question
pineapple
is, how did that conversation come up? Hey, Jordan, you want a beer? By the way, I hate pineapple on pizza. You're not one of those people.
I bet it wasn't that abrupt.
No, you get there.
Tiso actually slapped his pizza out of his hand when he saw pineapple on it.
I wouldn't know.
How dare you?
And then rubbed his face in it.
His rationalization is that you can't put fruit on pizza, but tomato's a fruit, is it not?
But he'll put a fruit.
No.
I say
But he'll
you
put
tomato
a fruit
pineapple,
in his beer,
whatever.
won't he?
Like,
Right?
He'll
Tomatoes
put
not
a
a
fruit
fruit.
in his beer.
Yeah,
They call it,
you're a fruit.
you can't say that. Told me.
Anyway. But yeah, so we started a little war. I'm walking into work one day, and I got to walk by BBC from the parking lot to get into Speedwell. And I walked by the chocolate sign, and I forget the exact thing, but it was straight up he knowing I was going to walk by and look at it, calling me out about putting pineapple on pizza, like a personal attack on me. God damn, the power of the chalkboard is real. You guys got some games set up over there. You can play darts upstairs, Jenga, which gives me crazy anxiety. How's that been going for you guys? I've been seeing these Jenga ones pop up everywhere. New World's got it. You guys have it here at
we have it at the brewery.
Yeah,
it's great. It gives someone something to do. Like I said, it keeps them sitting there drinking for longer. Then, especially for us, we don't have food.
Yep.
Anything to distract you from like, what time it is.
Right.
That's why we blot out the windows so you can't see sun. Like
pumping oxygen,
throwing out techno music and just keep it going. Don't do any of these things just in case.
Just got to get the stripper pole installed and you'll be all set.
Oh, if you haven't seen the stripper pole, apparently you're not in the VIP club. So.
Has anybody came up with any sort of drinking game pertaining to Jenga? Because I'm seeing these, and I think they're made locally.
Yes.
Browns Bank makes them, right?
So I'll if
Go
you don't
for it.
mind,
Yeah, please do.
So Jenga is not a new game.
No.
You guys know this, right? So, Karl, you're super old, and you used to, use granite blocks, I'm sure. So, when Jenga was invented,
we call it bricks.
It was small.
Real
pieces,
man's drinking game.
Fall River, we threw them at each other.
It was small pieces of wood, and so one of my roommates in college, again early '90s, I guess I'm old too. Decided we're going to turn this to a drinking game. He wrote on every single one of those blocks: drink 2, drink 1, drink 3, finish your beer, pass a beer to somebody else. He took the time to do that. So as you pulled one out, and you might have not toppled the thing over, but you had a task at the end of that. So every time you
it's not a bad idea. Yeah.
you had a drink. So that turned into a drinking game. But I went to school in Maine where it was cold and you had to drink.
And it was a lot of wood.
Drink beers to go fight mooses, and or is it moose eyes?
Meese?
It was southern Maine.
Yeah.
We didn't see one.
Okay, Canadian.
I think it's just moose.
We just wanted
More
to
than
say
one
it.
is a moose.
Not a dictionary.
It's not like Plymouth. It's not like
It's gonna
Plymouth,
bother
where
me.
you see a lot of-
Yes, it's not meese, it's moose.
Isn't it insane that like you could be so unmotivated to do anything when you're sitting down with a beer, but as soon as a drinking game, you're trying to drink faster, and all of a sudden you're more motivated. You create the most elaborate, well thought out. Like I don't have ideas for this speedball professionally, but you got me sitting at home bored with a couple friends. I'm like, give me a deck of cards, and I'll come up with the most elaborate game. I got freaking pulleys and strings going across the apartment. There's glasses hanging from here and there. You're throwing whatever, forks and knives across, and that's a drinking game.
It's called
amazing.
Mousetrap, by the way. You know, it's a game. It exists.
Yeah.
You didn't invent that.
Oh, all right. Damn. Mousetrap. That's pretty sweet. There's a bunch of board games downstairs. There's Mousetrap down there. We can do that right now. That was
We used to, when the kids were little, we used to have them run around the backyard, and we used to take one of those big, huge exercise balls, which were like 3 times as big as the kids. And we used to go bowling for kids. So you'd say, okay, kids, run. And they would run, and you would go bowling. And you try to hit the kids. When you hit one,
well, how much? So if you how
hit
the drink?
if you hit one, you take 1 sip. If you hit 2, you give 2 sips away.
Oh, he's lefty. He's okay. Yeah, nice try.
Different sides.
Yeah, it's called a
The mirror.
left,
effect.
right. Yeah.
Um,
Nice idea putting the glass on that side of the kid.
okay.
So if you
Bowling
hit a
for
kid,
kids,
how much did it
sorry.
count for?
Now, do the kids
It all
get
depends
the
on what the
drink,
rules
like-
were.
I'm
That
asking you what the
snapping was
rules
me
were.
calling
It
Karl
depends
out
on
for
the
drinking
day.
in
We
the wrong
swapped
day.
it up. How old was the kid? Did you hit him? Is he crying? I mean, there's a whole lot of rules. Yeah.
Did you get points for making them cry? Or
Oh
not making
yeah.
them
Well,
cry?
it
All right.
depends.
On the kid, right?
Was
Like,
it your own?
If they cried when you hit them with the ball because they fell down, that was good. If they cried because you pinned them in between the fence and the ball, Mom doesn't like that.
Makes sense.
Mom doesn't.
Oh my god. Kind of marrying to what we were talking about earlier, can jam and horseshoes is Polish horseshoes. That's one of my favorites
Oh,
of
I
all
love that
time.
game.
Yeah, it's fun. I
Right,
still-
I'm unfamiliar with Polish horseshoes.
Well, I'm uncomfortable with the name of Polish horseshoes.
Well, it's because it's a pole, and the beer bottle's resting on the pole.
And
Now I'm more
it's
comfortable.
steady.
Yeah. Polish horseshoes.
now I'm more comfortable.
Has nothing to do with any country.
It's the
Nobody
beer,
ever explained that to me.
it's the beer can that's on the pole.
Mr.
Well, real men play with glass bottles, but you know.
Jeff in a previous episode told us that, or it might be the one that comes after this, I'm breaking the rules, that his best Christmas gift he ever got was a set of skis and ski poles and all that stuff, and he didn't know why it was called Polish horseshoes.
I did not.
You are more comfortable now?
Well, no, maybe it's my own bias. All right, so let's not get into that.
So yeah, if you guys haven't played, you gotta stick the ski poles in the ground, and you rest the beer on it, and you throw a frisbee back and forth, and you have to be holding a beer, and you gotta try to knock the beer off or hit the pole to knock the beer down, and you accumulate points. I don't know, that's like one of the most fun ones. You gotta be good at throwing it.
Maybe I've never played with ski poles. I've always had a PVC pipe with a cup
Yes,
on
yeah.
So
And what did you call it?
Still a pole.
I didn't call it anything because I was uncomfortable with the name of the game. I just played it. Mind you, I played it really well, and
I'm gonna
I'm
keep
good
Jeff
at
away
it.
from Polish people now. So we're finding out more. All right.
Conrad Brewer. I'm sorry, Ryan.
Oh, that's right. Go Butch.
What other games we get out there that are either drinking games or games that you play while you drink?
The card game ones are
Can
good
I-
because
can
you
I
can bring
just-
a deck of cards anywhere.
Yeah.
Asshole's a good one.
Asshole's a great game.
Asshole's a great game. Yeah,
I've never played.
it's
Are you sure?
they named it after you.
Just line them up right there. We're all like,
That's one
who's
of
going
the-
to say it?
You know what's great about that game is like the first 2 or 3 times you start playing, I forget all the rules because I'm drunk by the time the last time I played
Yep.
it. I black out.
Yes.
So I couldn't even tell you exactly.
You
how
black
it's
out a
played
lot,
right
huh?
now. Yeah,
You should give up drinking.
I am.
What
I'm
about
day
one
2
of the-
right now.
What about old school games like bocce? Bocce's a game that is Not
Yeah, and if you
necessarily
wanna
a
drink
beer
with
in
your
your hand
mother-in-law.
game, but
Retirement community.
it's
Yeah.
part
You
of
gotta
that.
drink too.
It's part of that. Like, there's a whole set of games like bocce and horseshoes and
Would you say
darts.
golf's the original drinking game, then?
They're part of the leisure sport
It's a game you drink
activity.
while you
You know, where drinking is okay. Bowling, all these games, it's okay to drink during it. As a matter of fact, you could suggest that you could enhance your game if you are drinking during these games.
You don't
better
enhance
at
your
everything.
game. It's just that nobody knows how crappy you are because everybody else is drinking too.
Or is it that
maybe
you
you
just don't
can
care how
add
crappy
That's a
you
good
are?
point, actually.
Yeah.
That's
But bocce's one of those games, I think.
shuffleboard.
Shuffleboard.
Oh, shuffleboard's great. You're
Yep.
starting to see that make a big comeback,
So
too. That's
let
good,
me ask
yeah.
you a question. Shuffleboard, is that bar shuffleboard up on the table where you throw in the little disc, or is that shuffleboard with a stick? And there's old
It's
people
shuffleboard
around?
with the Polish stick.
All right, we're going to go to shift change. We're about the halfway mark now. Something new we're trying here where we just rapid fire one of our guests a bunch of questions. And
One of the
Karl-
guests, or both the guests?
What? One guest. One guest, Karl. We just did this. One guest. We rapid fire. So last...
It's 5 questions. How can you have one guess?
What? 5 questions to one guest.
It worked last.
Guest with a T.
No, go ahead. You run the show.
This is your idea.
I
This is
know
going to
it.
go smooth every time.
This is
All
Bar
right.
Talk with Tim Mahoney.
So,
Thanks for joining us.
Meanwhile, while these guys
so with the idea, Carl's idea behind shift change, we're going to rapid fire a bunch of questions at one guest. Yes or no questions, or just simple one-word answer questions. Karl and I are going to tally up the score. We're predicting the answers. I won 4-3 last time. So this time we are going to nail Jeff with 5. Jeff, ketchup on a hot dog, yes or no?
Ketchup on a hot dog? No.
No.
I got no. All right.
Cheetah.
Wonder Woman or Catwoman? Now I'm uncomfortable. The Polish made you uncomfortable.
Did you just purr?
Yeah, I think he did.
Catwoman.
Catwoman? After that new Wonder Woman movie,
Yeah, I had
don't know
Wonder
how
Woman.
you could. Yeah,
The new one is good, but I think the new... no, I'm good.
Tabasco hot sauce or red hot?
Tabasco.
Oh man, I put red hot. All right.
The real answer is Cholula anyway, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Terrible. That was not
Actually,
an
You're all
option.
wrong.
I'm actually a Cholula guy.
Here's a good one. So actually, this is kind of pertaining to some recent, well, not so recent developments at Mayflower, but beer, can or bottle?
Can.
You have to say that because they're all cans now. Did you put can or bottle?
Bottle.
I put can. Yes, tie game. And for all the marbles, who would win in a fight? And I think I saw this on one of Dan's shirts. A lion or a bear?
Hello?
Contemplating. If you guys can't see the hourglass spinning
Smoke
on the radio,
coming out.
A lion or a Polish
It's like he
bear?
owns a lion and a bear and has to give one up the way he's thinking about this. This is theoretical. Lion? All right. Yeah, I pick lion too.
So I won again,
Was it
5-0.
No, we're tied 3-3.
You know a tiebreaker?
Oh, we should have a tiebreaker.
Let's go.
Dan, tiebreaker. Ask him a question.
Well, wait, we gotta pick the answer first.
Oh yeah, how's that gonna work?
I'm gonna say yes.
I'll say no.
Okay, good.
Go
All
ahead.
right, I like it. Yeah, I get nothing.
All right, that's been shift change. We'll go with the tie. No tiebreaker. That's fine. So I'm up. What do we got?
You're not up. This is
Sagittarius.
No,
The
I
other
don't.
one's not coming up until after.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, how do you know what? Rookie over here, Sagittarius. Nice job. All right, sweet. Shift change is over with. So we'll jump back in here.
Sounds so excited. He doesn't like shift change.
Yeah.
I don't shift changes. Yeah, you want to go to sports? Let's go to sports. So,
Can I ask shift change?
of course, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead. Please.
Vest or sweatshirt?
Sweatshirt,
Vest.
obviously.
Done.
Sweatshirts with or without hoods?
All right, so we
Without-
talk drinking games, and that's things. That's things
Tough-
that
tough
keeps
question
you.
for Jordan.
Vest
What is
with
it?
a hood or without a hood?
Sweatshirt with a
Sweatshirt with a hood. No vest, never a vest for me.
What about a life vest?
I wouldn't be caught
You
dead
want to
in one of
drown?
those things.
It's irresponsible. of you.
These
You're a
pythons
family
can't
man
fit in
now.
a sleeve.
Oh, all right. Please, can I move on?
Yeah, move on.
Thank you. All right,
move
so
on.
we were talking, and Dan, you made a good point about how drinking games keep people in a place longer, especially without food, stuff like that. Sports is another thing, and we just wrapped up the baseball season, but really, I think the main sport that keeps people in bars drinking is football. We're in the thick of the football season right now. With the Patriots, we got the playoffs around the corner. Basketball just started. Celtics are.
Well, speaking of football, tell everybody about our bet.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. So Karl's going to lose this bet that we made at the beginning of the season, where basically
Before the first game.
it was after the first game, after the Patriots lost the first game, we made a bet that I thought the Patriots would go 15-1.
You said 16-0.
After they lost one game. And Karl thought they would do 12-4 or worse. So we actually took a wager. The Patriots are now 8-2, I believe.
7-2.
7-2. Thank you. I'm just thinking ahead because they're going to be 8-2. So if they're 13-3 or better, then I win the bet. And that would mean Karl has to bartend at Speedwell wearing my usual outfit. Sorry, you're going to have to fit your pythons into a sweatshirt. And all his tips would go donated to a charity of my choosing. If I lose the bet, same thing. I got to wear Magnum PI shirt, bartend over at Karl's place. This is January 21st, the Sunday before the Super Bowl. So that should be a pretty good one. We haven't chose the charity yet. I think we're just going to agree on one. But as it gets closer, we want to go with something local. You've heard us plug it before in previous episodes, but yeah, that's a pretty good one. I mean, bets are definitely something that keep people a little. I mean, sometimes it can get a little uncomfortable.
I think bets and sports go hand in hand. There's no. How do you root for a team without challenging the person from the other team? You're often betting or challenging. My team's better. Your team's better. How do you prove it? What's at stake?
Right.
When you're
But
not when you're not playing the game, there has to be something at stake, and so you have to bet something.
But not only, my team against your team, but now they have squares, which I think do. A lot of people play the squares. Do they come in to watch the game because they have a square? Or are they just betting and they come in later?
I think they follow the sports wrap-up shows because of the squares.
I think the square will get the ass in the bar to buy the square, though. You know what I mean? Like that, you're not really necessarily using the squares to get them in there during the game, but they got to come in and buy a square. And most people are going to have a beer when they do that.
So I'll ask a question that me and my buddies have been going round and round for a couple of years now.
Sacrilege.
Dan, you guys do squares, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm buying a square for a Super Bowl, right? I got a good-looking bartender, call her Pumpkin, that's at your bar. And
Great bartender.
great bartender.
Probably one of the best.
She's in my top 15
At BBC, right?
at the BBC. Yeah. So I go there and I say, "Hey, Pump, I'll take a square. Cost me $20. I give her the $20. The game comes on. I win. I go to collect, have a couple of beers, and now Dan's the bartender. Do I tip Dan on my winnings?
Well, you bought a beer from Dan, so you
got to tip at least
tipping
on the beer.
No, tip on the beer, but you tip on the winnings from the square.
I think you tip the person.
Do you
that
tip
sold
the
you
bartender? But I might never see Pumpkin because who knows when she comes in? Maybe
She
she
just
got
won
fired.
you a bunch of money. You track her down.
Maybe she got fired.
She works at like 7 bars in Plymouth. I'm pretty sure you can track her down.
From all of them.
Her name is Pumpkin. She's not hard to find.
So I guess the question that we've come up with is, when you win a square, or if you win a square, call it $100. You win $100 on a square.
Do you tip out on that?
Do you tip out on that? And does the bartender expect you to?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Coming from the bartender side, I don't expect it, but I appreciate it.
But do you expect it?
No, not at all, because I've
You're so
gotten
full of shit.
I've gotten not tipped out on them more than I have.
I think
So-
the bar expects it, not the bartender.
But I
Now,
think-
if I said to Pumpkin, pick me a square, and she picks a square, and I win on that, am I more apt to tip her
Of course.
and find her out? Or do
mean,
I just let it go because
she's-
Dan's there and I say, hey, split this between you and Pumpkin?
She's part of your decision-making process. She's part of your team. You guys won as a team. You have to pay her evenly. 50-50.
Oh, now it's 50-50.
She was part of your process.
I'm just going to give her $1 for a tip.
Well, look, you're the one that didn't have a choice. You went with
It's not
somebody
Pumpkin's
else.
name in the square. It says Heine all over it.
But if she didn't give you the answer, the Heine's the asshole.
And then I'm not tipping her. I don't like her attitude. So I guess the question is, do people expect to get tipped off of a square win or a bet made at a bar?
I don't personally, just because it's happened more than not that I haven't. So, and this is all new since working down this area where I've worked before. We didn't do this stuff. So,
Because it was illegal?
you call it what you want to call it, Karl. But so it's, I personally don't, but I can't say that Jordan doesn't, or you don't, or Jeff doesn't. So
Jeff, what do you think? Would you?
I don't.
And who do you tip? The one that's there when you collect, or the one that was there when you said, "I want that square"?
it ultimately comes down to how much you've had to drink that day too, because I might tip.
States
Jordan.
the usual amount.
Yeah. For me or for Jordan?
Well, Jordan's being a little weird lately, so let's go.
I would put it this way. I'll tell you what. If I sat at a bar and I had no intentions of buying a square, and the bartender said, "Hey, there's only a couple squares left. Do you want one?" and then I won, yeah, you bet your ass. I'm
Yeah,
tipping
but you're
that
not. You're
bartender.
buying it like a week before.
Right.
So then you show up 2 weeks later. You collect as a different bartender.
Does every bartender get fired
What do you
after
tip?
selling a square, dude?
Well, it is illegal.
And you're not going to buy a square. I know. And you're not going to buy a square at a bar you don't go to often. You're not going to just pop into like this random bar off the highway and go buy a square and never go there again.
Well, I would go there if I won.
Right. But
That's how Karl
you can leave a tip
places.
for the bartender.
From the
I don't
only
like this
person that's not selling squares,
I don't sell
from the person that buys
Hypothetically, I don't
squares,
either.
Theoretically.
I would say I would probably tip in the sense that I would take winnings and buy beers for people that are there at the time. Similar,
Yeah,
to
the bartender loves that.
similar to a hole-in-one, and then I would tip heavily on that. So
Yeah, I think that's the
that
way to go about it.
bartender that was there that took. I don't equate a relationship between my square purchase and the bartender.
You know what it
You
reminds
don't.
me of? I got a good point. Jeff,
No.
Buffalo.
No.
Buffalo.
Damn it. I feel like this Buffalo game should be called Jeff.
We can work that out.
I'm gonna just take my right hand and put it in my pocket.
So staying on the
Sit on
sports theme, but sort of like a cool way, it's evolved a little bit. When I was 21, wink wink, first started drinking out at bars, I'm a big baseball fan, and baseball's all about statistics and debates, and you get a few beers in you, you think you know everything, and you think you remember everything. Back then, you couldn't just pull up a smartphone and end an argument. I don't
Oh, you're
bartend
old,
much
too.
anymore. What is it?
So you're old too.
Yeah, I am a little old. This one going on 33, but yeah. So now you're seeing a lot of these. I don't know if you guys noticed maybe a change at the bar when people are in there watching the game, and this guy's and especially with fantasy football stuff like that. Yeah. The interaction isn't the same anymore like it used to be, where you were talking. It didn't matter if you knew the people around you at the bar. If you were all watching a game, you interacted, you talked about the team, stuff like that. Now everyone's down on their phones. They're paying attention to their fantasy team. If they do have a disagreement, it's like, let me just Google the stat real quick to back up my point. I know usually they're wrong, but at least in my case. But I don't know. Do you have any sort of weird sort of fantasy football?
Fantasy football pretty much ruined football for the casual fan. Like it's
Not
you're
only for
watching
the casual
game.
fan, but for the casual bar.
Absolutely.
Right. You're right about that.
I don't care what's going on in that game when everyone else wants to watch this game. So it can suck, but ultimately, if it puts you in the seat to spend money, then we can work with it.
Right.
It's just like March Madness. Like,
I mean, years ago, when I was young and just starting to go to the bars drinking, of course, it was the Blue Laws. You couldn't buy booze on Sunday, so you had to go to the bar and watch the Patriots. And the Patriots
before you went there.
And the Patriots were never on TV because they sucked and they would never sell out. And then all of a sudden, cable come on, and you're like, I could go to a bar and watch the Patriots, even though you couldn't see it at home because you didn't have cable. You only had those 4 stations. You could go to a bar and watch the Patriots, even though they weren't sold out. I think there was a lot more people going out to see sports than there is now, where everybody has their man cave and their big screen TVs and their fantasy footballs, and I think fantasy football took a lot away from people having favorite teams.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it used to be the Patriots and Dallas. Everybody was a Dallas lover. America's team, Dallas, Dallas, Dallas. And now it's just players. It's just nobody cares about teams.
The big channel now is the Red Zone channel.
Red Zone.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the channel that keeps them out of your bars, because you guys can't get the Red Zone channel.
I got the Red Zone channel.
Do you?
Yeah, we get the Red Zone channel.
Right, and so thank you, Sarah. The Red Zone channel is...
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome, Karl.
The Red Zone channel is ADHD in television. It's all bundled up, nice and tight. It is, oh my God, who's going to score? Okay, they scored. Oh my God, who's going to score? They scored.
Right.
Okay, oh my God, who's going to score? And then you flip around. And if you don't... I had this experience the other day. I went to my brother's house. We were watching football. I didn't know the Red Zone channel was on. I thought we were watching a game, and it flipped, and it took me a second, and I had to catch up with the pace of Red Zone before I relaxed a little bit. I'm like, I was a little stressed out by it. I'm like, what is going... Wait, no, what? No, we will... Did that guy score or not? I don't know. They cut away, and then I'm like, oh, wait, it's the Red Zone.
It is all over
And
the place,
now
too.
I get it, and so...
Because sometimes they'll be like, oh, this just happened 5 minutes ago. All right, now we take you immediately
And
to
that's
this, and this is
fantasy
live.
football,
And then,
Karl.
yeah.
That's
Quad
fantasy
box.
football.
Right, yeah. Quad box. I love the quad box.
And so being
box.
of your generation, much younger part of your generation, but being part of that, I would say football used to be an all-day activity where I'm looking at Jordan right now with his hands on his head and his feet up. It was a relaxing endeavor where you spent the afternoon watching a game and you took advantage of the commercials and that type of thing. I will say that I watched the Patriots last night, and I did swear that I hate effing commercials, and I can't stand them the way they wedge them in now. I feel like they're doing it more and more.
It's crazy.
So it drives me bonkers. So
Well, Dan, at your place, you guys show a lot of soccer. And I know Jeff's a big soccer fan.
I am, yeah.
I just... You guys are the only ones that I know that are soccer fans.
That's not true. Soccer plays at Speedwell nonstop.
But he gets a regular crew, though. You have, like...
Yeah, we don't have people
Yeah.
that come to the
They
New
are the
Orleans Tavern
British
to
beer
watch
company,
soccer.
though.
Yeah, it's something we push as a company.
Yeah.
But do you see a lot of people... Is it becoming more popular? It seems to me more popular than when I was a kid. I mean, yeah, there was a soccer team in high school, but...
You see the uptick during the World Cup when the U.S. actually makes it. I don't think you're never going to see someone come in for an MLS game. Like, I couldn't tell you what the Revolution's record is right now,
Right.
or even if it's soccer season.
Are they even playing right now?
I have no idea. Is
Are
it
they
even a
playing?
team anymore?
No, they're not playing.
And I think it's, as a whole, everyone's not there yet. There are a bigger community for it, but you see you see a big push at it when it's like a big tournament like that, like the World Cup or the Americas or all that fun stuff. But
Right.
for the most part, I don't think there's some big diehard fans, but it's not everyone yet.
As bar owners, all right, so I'm the one not bar owner or bar manager here. I don't know why you guys wouldn't cultivate this crowd.
You know
I
why?
really don't.
I'll tell you why.
Because nobody
Buffalo.
cares.
That's why.
Damn it.
Well, the toughest part is they play at a weird time. Like a lot of times, the games are on before Premier League before we open.
But it's a crowd coming in.
Right.
And why wouldn't you be a supporter?
Well, now you
So-
say a crowd. What's a crowd? 2 people?
Well, not necessarily. If you project yourself as a supporter of soccer,
How many people are going to come in to watch the game?
there are 4 tournaments every year that happen. Every year. And they happen all year. And you could get every one of these crowds in if you just...
How many
if
people
you
is
just,
the crowd?
You just publicized. Every one of these games will be on. I promise you they'll be on. And during the week, maybe it's not a lot, but it'll build. It'll build, and then in the spring...
The biggest issue, though, availability. It's not all on basic cable or
Well, you do.
what do you have for sports cable. So
Yeah, we get the
Sometimes it's hard to
Roku and
do
we
it.
put on those Irish games that nobody really knows what's going on.
Yep.
There's a lot of Irish people coming to watch it.
You do
Yep.
get a crew for it.
Yeah, we do.
I
It's
was
a Sunday
impressed with
morning
that,
and they're
actually.
watching hurling, curling, burling. I don't even know what the hell it is.
Curling.
They got sticks.
Well,
They don't
that's
have
not-
sticks.
Curling
They're
should be
kicking
a
the ball. They're
drinking
carrying the
game.
ball. I don't know what's going on. And they all look at me like I'm a jerk. Hey, what's the score? Hey, just scored a touchdown. How come in here? But yeah, they do come in for it, and I think they do look for a place. But I think they're looking for the place to be because a crowd brings a crowd, and they don't want to start a crowd. They want to be there when it's all full and ready and all ready.
For those of us that have been in a bar at that moment with the sport that you root for, with a crowd full of people that root for that sport, regardless of whatever that sport is and whatever that moment was, it's a cool moment.
Oh, yeah.
When you cheer for the goal or the field goal or the touchdown
Right,
or
they can
whatever
hear
it
you.
is, and
And I think-
everyone around you cheers, you feel like you're at the game.
I agree.
And you're watching the game. And
What
you're
I'm
at the
saying
game.
is those days are long past in most cases because of you can watch any game you want at any time. You got the red zone, you got fantasy football, and people are not coming out to the bars to watch these games anymore. They're staying home and inviting their friends over.
I think the playoff games, not including the Super Bowl, and the Patriots are in the Super Bowl pretty much every other year. We're slow. We do a lot of takeout. But the playoff games leading up to it.
It's
So-
every year.
It's all the sport too. Like
Not
look at
every
you
year.
said you keep talking basketball, college basketball,
Sorry,
but
Let's hope.
I keep talking back to it. March Madness brings people out all the time. You're gonna have
Yeah, March
10
Madness.
games on as many TVs as you can put on. Like,
Yep.
people stay there and yell at the TV because their team loses or because some random Cinderella team beats it. So I think that's the biggest
March Madness.
drinking sport right now. Like I've gone to a bar, I'm like how many teams can I watch right now?
Right.
I've sat there and watched hours of college basketball that I did not care about. 'cause
College
I might
football,
win a bunch
too.
of money.
You know what? I'm finding I'm getting more of a drinking crowd for college football on Saturdays than I am for professional football on
Yes.
Sundays.
Have you ever
Because
been to a college football
they don't
bar,
only
too?
care about the game that their team is playing. They care about all the other teams that impact their team's
And they're
status.
betting. And they're betting.
Yep.
And
Right.
they're
It all
betting.
comes
Right.
down to betting.
Absolutely. One of my favorite sports moments in a bar was 2013 Red Sox. I was at the People's Republic in Boston. I went with a big group of people I was working with at that time. This was right before Speedwell opened. And, I got really hammered. And when Koji struck out the last dude, I blasted some random girl in the face with champagne.
With
And
what?
then my friend
Oh,
Andrea.
just don't hesitate.
That dramatic pause right there. Like, you have
Careful
a-
of your pause. There.
With champagne. With cheap champagne. Yeah.
With champagne, you blast.
I don't remember doing it. But, it was a good time. I can't ever recreate. If I was sitting at home watching the game, I'd have been blasting one of my cats in the face with champagne.
All right, so
That's
That's
not
animal
fun.
cruelty, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So better a couple of my friends and a stranger.
so the question to everybody, and we'll go around the room one at a time. What right now, this year, would be more exciting? The Patriots winning the Super Bowl, Red Sox winning the World Series, Bruins winning the Stanley Cup, or the Celtics winning it all? Which would you rather see and would be more exciting to you?
Do you want my biased opinion? Is I want the
Start with
Celtics to do it.
Yeah, let's start with you.
Because it's been the longest for them. But also, I think the most exciting would be the Bruins because they suck. And if they come out and win the Stanley Cup, they're coming out of nowhere. So
I would say that, and Bruins fans, everyone wants to say, like, hockey's like the third or fourth sport in this town, but Bruins fans, man, when they get out to a bar, they're into it.
Yeah.
They show up in their jerseys, they want it on the TV, they're loud, they're screaming at it. I love it when I have, like, a Thursday night Bruins game. It turns a weeknight into that football atmosphere on a Sunday. Bruins fans are pretty passionate. I think that'd be pretty exciting to see it happen if they were to win the Stanley Cup this year, being at Speedwell or New World or BBC while that's happening. I don't know. That's a good one. But
I think it's the Celtics.
yeah, the Celtics.
I think the Celtics. So I'm a Patriots season ticket holder. I go to all those games. I'm a passionate football fan. I have watched more basketball this year already than I've watched in the last 10 years. Because that game, you flip it on, you hear somebody say something, you watch something on your social media. Hey, great game going on. There's something going on. I flip it on and I can't turn it off, and it's very exciting. That team is battling. They're a bunch of young players that are battling, and this win streak is you want to watch to see can they do it, and they've had a lot of exciting finishes. I would like to see the Celtics put 18 up this year. I think that to me would be the biggest championship.
Me and Dan are responsible for the win streak getting to 11. We went to the game last Friday, and we were drinking beer, and they were losing the whole time. And
by
as soon
18 points.
Yeah, and then as soon as we switched to whiskey, they came back and won. It was nuts.
Well, maybe you just think they won.
I mean,
Oh,
I checked the next day just in case. 'Cause I have made that mistake before.
Me, it's always Red Sox. I'm a diehard Red Sox fan. I think the odds of winning a World Series are much more difficult than any other sport. The amount of teams, it's a game of just, I don't know.
Last call, Buffalo!
Oh, yes! Nice one, Andy, with the assist.
Damn it, Andy. You're not supposed to do that.
All right, it's time for last call. This one came up quick. Just want to thank everybody for being here. Dan Mahoney of BBC, Jeff Nardone of Mayflower Brewing, and Karl, even though we tell him not to come, he shows up anyway. This is a part of the show where we wrap up. Everybody finishes their drinks to get their last thoughts out. Everybody's got a minute. I'll start it off.
A minute, Jeff. A minute.
The look of sadness and disappointment. I'm going to use this time again to plug the bet. I think it's going to be a good time. Again, it's January 21st. We don't know the location yet. Karl will swear up and down it'll be at New World.
New World Tavern. Hawaiian night.
But either way, Plymouth wins, and the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. So I'm plugging the bet. January 21st, probably at New World Tavern. But one of us will be bartending at the opponent's bar, raising money for a good cause. As we get closer, we'll make that decision and let you guys know. Throw it over to Karl.
Thanks, everybody, for listening and downloading us or uploading us or whatever the hell you guys do to listen to us. And Sideload us.
Yeah.
And, I just want to appreciate all your patience. Sometimes Jordan's really, really boring, and sometimes he's really, really boring. But, we try to have guests in here that pep up the show. But, again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
That wasn't boring at all, Karl. You just repeated yourself.
How's this? Ready?
Like 4
Your
times.
shirt. How's that for boring?
Still boring.
Dan, you're up.
Hey, first of all, thanks for having me on, guys. Going to the BBC, we have some really cool acoustic music every Monday night. It's been rocking out. We have music Tuesdays, Thursdays, sometimes on a Friday when I feel a little wild and crazy. I play the ukulele. Gets crazy, it's there. Shout out to
Hangs
Bumblebee
on the
Music
wall
School.
waiting for you.
Yeah, and I just hope by the time you hear this, the Celtics are still winning games. And it's not a plug for the BBC, but it's a plug for me. So
They will. Golden State.
if I have to drink whiskey every game, I'm going to do it.
I'm in there.
Come on into BBC and buy a square and don't tip anybody.
Jeff Nardone.
All right. Thank you, first of all, gentlemen, for having us on.
Thanks for being here.
Mayflower Brewing Company will be celebrating their 10th anniversary in January, and we'll have a special beer in line. The brewers are hard at work on putting that together, and in celebration of that, we'll have a 10th anniversary party in January. So stay tuned, mayflowerbrewing.com. Special beer, special times, special restaurants, special people.
Oh,
Karl won't
Karl
be there?
is special.
Well, no, Karl definitely won't be there.
I am special.
I'm sorry, Karl.
Explains the shoes.
You're more than welcome to join us because it's special. So, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks again for listening, everybody. You can find us at Bar Talk Cast on Facebook, also at Bar Talk Cast on Twitter. Make sure
Job on your R's, by the way.
Thank you very
Proud of
much. There are R's in both of those. You can stay up to date on the Facebook. We posted a video from our last episode of Karl celebrating or lack of celebration playing darts. We also got a video coming out of his mom singing Irish tunes at New World, which was his proudest moment. I'm really looking forward to that one. I'd also like to thank Andy and Fish from Inebriat for having us here and producing the show. Again, this is Bar Talk Cast. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Don't forget to check out our other podcast. There's the Bar Talk podcast. There's Old Colony Cast. And, of course, the Inebriat podcast along with Jam Packed. You can find all those on Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcasts are found. If you're on some sort of service and you can't find it, let us know, and we'll help you out and or add our podcast with that too. You can contact us at inebriart@yahoo.com and follow us on Facebook as well as Twitter at inebriart. And feel free to send us some tips, ideas, advice, hate mail, whatever it is, you can get us there. And again, thanks for listening.